APC has swept all 17 local government chairmanship seats in the just concluded local government council election in the state. The APC also won the 178 councillorship seats in Yobe State. The chairman, Yobe State Independent Electoral Commission, Dr. Mamman Muhammad, announced this at the commission's headquarters in Damaturu on Sunday. Dr. Nelson, what is your immediate reaction to what is your immediate reaction to this? I mean, is it a one-party system going on in Yobe State?
My reaction is that this is beginning to look like voodoo politics. It doesn't look real. It doesn't look real. We are coming out of general elections last year, and we saw the general performance of the APC. We have witnessed 1 year of that government in politics, and Nigerians are not, Nigerians will not be rewarding that party with such massive support within this 1 year. And what is happening in APC, I don't know if there's some way the local observers there can explain the details that will make it realistic and make it believable. It just looks like voodoo. Are we saying that the other parties do not have any kind of support at all? They don't have membership anywhere? This looks like something that was just manufactured instead of actual election. It's worrisome. Because if this is the trend, if this is a pointer to the trend, then that portends very dangerous days for democracy in Nigeria. It's difficult to believe.
I mean, 17 local governments,
178, all for the same party.
And then you look at it, this result was announced by the chairman of the state INEC, the YOSIEC.
Yes.
You would wonder, what role has the role of INEC in free and fair elections, particularly the states? You know, to a large extent, there have been calls for, you know, to close down the state INEC and then adopt INEC at the federal level for elections across states and local governments. Could this be one of the reasons? I mean, looking at the influence of the executive on the state INEC.
Now, for me, those are just besides the issues. Is the INEC at the national doing any better? Are they not still tools in the hands of whoever is controlling the federal government? What difference does that make? Is it moving from one colonial master to the next? Does that solve the problem? Can we look at dealing with the institution? Can we look at setting up power, being able to hold people to account for what they do with power? Even after the announcement, even after the election, can we audit the process and find out if there is a problem with the process, if it was corrupted, if it was rigged, and punish people where they have erred? So that, you know, when people think about consequences, they are constrained to act within the confines of the law. It's not really about moving INEC from being subject, the state, being subject to, from the state governor to federal. It will not change anything. It will just be a question of whoever holds power at the top, we call the shot and use them to achieve whatever political goals they want. Yes. And at the end of the day, democracy suffers. There is no accountability. You cannot get good governance under those kind of systems. And then what does that leave for us for our development and all that? Right. So we should begin to design a system that will hold people accountable, and then let there be consequences for abuse.
All right. You talked about auditing the process and accountability. I will come back to you on that, but let me get the immediate reaction of Asim Adams. What's your take on this?
It's laughable, and but I'm not shocked. I'm not bewildered. I keep laughing. You know why? This has been the trend. It's not just Yobe State.
Or your state as well. It's
going to continue. It's going to be on a continuous trend. That is, even in my own state where I come from, if you look at the present people who are there now, the elections were cleared by the PDP. You know, all the councillors of the world cleared by the PDP. So you ask yourself a question. What exactly is the problem happening? Is it the issue of YOSIEC, or is it SIEC or SIEC? Well, let me use the word SIEC. And the governor, NEC or INEC, as the case may be. In my own opinion, I believe that governors at all levels, I describe INEC as bad, but the institutions called YOSIEC are worse, than INEC. At least, if INEC is to conduct elections in Edo State September 21st, they have released their their timetable at the national level. They release their timetable, go and campaign, go and do this. Even if the president wants to have a say in who becomes the governor of Edo State, my own state, it is hidden. There's a way they are going to move it, and we might not really know that we know they are manipulating, but it will not be so glaring, so that the blind can even see that, see, this election is being rigged, like what is happening here. So they have the impunity to even come out, because they have the powers to now select who will be chairman or director of the YOSIEC. The governors have the power to nominate or bring the person in. So he can go there and say, bring somebody that is from his own political party and say, go ahead, YOSIEC for me. Make sure that you deliver. Then the man goes. Immediately he delivers, they are happy. And before you know, they appoint the man as something as case may be. So there's no element of transparency at all in this YOSIEC arrangement in Nigeria here. The state governors have bastardized everything. Now, what do we do? How do we nip this in the bud? I saw that the Supreme Court, the AG went to the Supreme Court to ask for autonomy for local government so that they can be running their affairs, etc. But that would be practically impossible, or let me say near impossible, because the governors, we still have control over local governments, both their elections, as the case may be, under that Section 7 of the Constitution that gives the governor, and the state government and the House of Assembly. Most governors control their houses of assembly in the states. So if they are to make laws on local government good governance, structure means all these things we're talking about now, functioning, so it's going to be still be under them. So I don't know, are you going to amend Section 7 to say completely remove local government management from the hands of the House of Assembly? Who is going to be making laws? Is it that the councillors themselves? Because by virtue of the constitution and the territorial whatever we have in Nigeria, councillors ought to be members of the house of equivalent like parliament in the local government council. They ought to be lawmakers, just like you see, like we call lawmakers in our House of Assembly here now. Councillors ought to be lawmakers in the local government. They can remove the chairman. You understand? They can impeach the chairman, just like you can impeach the government in the House of Assembly. But what exactly are we going to do? Like Doctor said, I think it's high time we put something on ground, a punitive measure that makes it that electoral fraud should be treated, as the same as somebody who is trafficking in drugs, cocaine. The same punishment should be meted out to them, or terrorists. Because if you have people who are declaring the whole 17 local government, it's like you have captured the state. Yes. You didn't even go through the people's whatever, you just captured the state. Yeah, but terrorists do capture states. So they should be treated as terrorists and prosecute them and make laws in line with that. If you are found wanting, influencing election, it is as case may be, you go life imprisonment without option of fine. I think that should be the stepping stone we have to do, because the essence of law, it can happen. It can happen. If we put ourselves together.
Do you see the lawmakers, amending the constitution or, bringing up laws that will affect them?
Of course, you see, the lawmakers...
When they will still contest for elections.
If we have... See, the process is faulted and faulty. That is why we have people who go to National Assembly and they cannot do anything that will influence the law and, go for good governance, as the case may be. Why is that so? Because of the faulty background. How does it become a faulty background? It's because of election. Because all senators and House of Reps, went through an election process. And some of them got there, manipulating the system to get to that particular position. So what do we do at the lower level right now, apart from the punitive measures of laws? Now, people should even go to the street and protest. In Yobe State, for instance, and say these people will not recognize them because they are not our products. We did not vote for these people, the 17 of them, and 173 councillors, we did not vote for them. So they are not even representing us. If they start that kind of protest, you find that other states and people begin to follow suit. But in Nigeria here, we are also docile and very passive. People are jubilating in the Yobe State now. that gives the politician that impunity to do more worse things than this, as the case may be. So it's a system change that we need in Nigeria here.
Right.
I just believe we can do it.
Dr. Nelson, you spoke about consequences, having punitive measures, and also investigating electoral malpractices. Now, so far there have been electoral tribunals, year after year, election after election. So far, what has these electoral tribunals done to ensure that after investigation of probably electoral malpractices, the right thing is done?
Okay, what happens usually with the case of tribunals is those who are contesting and the parties take the issues, whatever their grievances are, to the courts for redress. But I'm talking about a system that is administrative.
Okay,
and
totally different from what we have.
No, not because you are an aggrieved party and you're seeking redress. Maybe you want to alter the outcome of the election in your favor in one form or the other. But something that is purely administrative, that is automatic, that will kick in whether you want to or not, whether you're even removed immediately after the election. That audit takes place to look at all the protocols for the election, whether you took decisions deliberately just to alter or favor a particular candidate or party, and then design punishment for that when those things happen. But the problem really is that the entire system, just like Barrister was saying here, there's a problem with the system. And the chief problem is that there's a high level of docility from the Nigerian masses. People are laid back. People have given up interest in their governance. Poverty. Probably
over time.
Yes.
Apathy setting because
apathy
you
sets
vote
in.
And your vote does not
Good.
count.
Your vote does not count and you withdraw. And after you withdraw, then very soon your life will not also count. Poverty becomes endemic. Your children will inherit that structure. So at what point do you resign? How do you keep going back and back? We are making political office holders into mini-gods. Once they come into power, they are no longer human beings, they are gods. Imagine the kind of structure we just built for a sitting vice president in the midst of this hardship. In the midst of this hardship. Is the government celebrating that? The whole world is mocking Nigeria. How can you be this poor? How can your country be going this kind of poverty? And you're building such edifice for a sitting vice president who in actual case actually also living in affluence. He's not living in IDP. He's not living in anywhere that is below his standard as a vice president. Even if there has to be upgrade, it has to be something that is reasonable, that respects what the masses are going through.
All right. All right.
So that kind of systemic change cannot take place by at the wish of politicians because they cannot remove themselves from power. The masses, NGOs, international civil organizations, all interested parties, we need to wake up.